Hey there, America. It's good to see you. I'm here today to talk to you about Governor Rick Perry. I fully endorse him for President of the United States in 2012. And there's been a lot of rumors and issues going on about Rick Perry, so I just want to clear some things up. We'll cut straight to the chase here. Let's talk about the HPV vaccination. A lot of people try to say Governor Rick Perry tried to force these HPV vaccinations on these young teenage girls. Uh, I don't have a problem with this. Rick knows what's best for our daughters and our sisters, our girlfriends, and our wives, because Rick gets his information from the FDA and the pharmaceutical companies who make this stuff. He's just trying to do what's right by helping these girls not contract HPV. And as I said, Rick gets his information and makes his decisions based on what the FDA tells him, what the pharmaceutical companies tell him, and the FDA and the pharmaceutical companies say that there are no side effects here, that this is the right thing to do. And sometimes we have to use some government force to do what's right. It's for the greater good. So that clears that up. Even though Mr. Perry has since retracted his statements about the vaccinations, let it be known I still stand in his corner on that. Next topic is this NAFTA superhighway. Everybody wants to make it sound bad. It's a road that stretched from Mexico up to Canada, and Rick Perry was in favor of this and pushed for it to happen until some meddlesome people got in the way and prevented this road from happening. Everybody wants to scream, "Oh, eminent domain, they're taking my land." But eminent domain is okay in America, people. That's why we have it. We have to have these roads. And we need a superhighway that goes from Mexico to Canada. We need that. The NAU really thinks we need it. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm all about listening to what the NAU has to say. George W. Bush was a big fan of the NAU, and I support George W. Bush as well as Governor Rick Perry. We're going to go on here. Let's talk about Al Gore. Everybody wants to bring up Al Gore. Well, Al Gore is a Democrat. Al Gore is not on our side. How could Rick Perry have been the Texas state chairman for Al Gore's campaign back in '88 if he's an actual conservative, if he's an actual Republican? Well, let me tell you people something. Reagan's American morning was over in '88. It was American afternoon, and it was time for a change, and Al Gore offered that change. And we stood behind him, and Governor Rick Perry stood behind him. Al Gore might have changed, but Rick Perry didn't change. People, get that through your skulls. Don't let this Al Gore thing ruin Rick Perry's potential presidency. This is a great man. Say what you will about Al Gore, but I, for one, think he actually won that election back in 2000. I know that's a bold statement coming from a Bush supporter, but I believe it. I don't think Al Gore's a bad guy. I believe in climate change. I believe in global warming. Al's right about that. And Rick Perry was right in supporting Al Gore. That's the bottom line there. Moving on to other stuff, there's been a clip of a Bank of America representative offering help to Rick Perry on C-SPAN. Some of you have probably seen the video. He comes up and says, we're Bank of America and we'll help you out. And everybody thinks this is so wrong. Well, let me tell you, people, how can we lose with that kind of support on our side? With that kind of financial support on our side? How can we lose? Obama's got them big bankers. He's got them corporate donations. Why can't we have them? And look at the Starbucks people don't want any more corporate donations going out to people. But Bank of America is willing to donate to us and Rick Perry. So instead of causing big ruckus over this, we need to gladly accept that money and do what's right with it by putting Rick Perry into office. Rick Perry and Bank of America could make a difference in this country. Now, some of y'all want to bicker about this stimulus money. Now, I know Rick wasn't in favor of it publicly at first. But he ended up accepting that stimulus money, and he used that stimulus money to grow the economy in Texas. So all y'all naysayers can shut up. We can take this federal money when they're willing to give it and use it for what it's used for. And there shouldn't be any more arguing about that. Sometimes you just got to take that federal money. Rick Perry knows this, and I know this, and that's why I support Rick Perry. Moving on to some other stuff. Some of y'all want to whine about the death penalty. You want to bring up this guy, what was his name? Cameron Willingham, who got executed. This guy burnt down a house. Supposedly 3 kids were killed and stuff. And I guess Rick Perry decided that even with the lack of evidence that this man was guilty. And I believe Rick Perry on this, folks. I believe him. I don't care what some scientist says. I don't care what some jury says. I care what Governor Rick Perry says. Rick Perry said that man was guilty and that he should die. And so we executed him. And that's how we do things in Texas. And hopefully that's how we'll be doing things in America when Rick Perry is president. Let's keep on talking here. Let's talk about his statement on BP and how the BP oil spill last spring, whenever that was not the fault of BP, but in fact an act of God. And I believe Rick Perry's statement on this. That oil spill was indeed an act of God, and it was God telling America, hey, wake up and listen to Rick Perry. All right? That was no fault of BP. That was no fault of government regulation not doing its job. That was simply an act of God. And it was an act of God to wake us up and make us pay attention to Governor Rick Perry. We can talk and we can talk and we can talk. There's all kinds of things and garbage they want to bring up on Rick Perry, but folks, he's a good man. And he will be our next president. I don't see what all y'all have problems with here. I fully endorse Rick Perry for President of the United States. And now that I've cleared these issues up for you, I hope you will too. Come on and join us. Get on the Perry train.